Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of Mark's Remarks. Mark Radigan here, your host, as always, and I'm pleased to be back continuing this interview series that I've been doing in conjunction with the University of Rhode Island Honors Program, the French Connection, as I've dubbed it, following the story of the URI women's basketball program and the meteoric rise that this program has had over the past few seasons with the help of a number of French and other international students coming to join the program. And so I'm joined by the first French player I have the pleasure of speaking to, one of the first French players that I actually met when I came to Rhode Island. I'm joined here on the pod today with Ines Debroise. Ines, how are you?
Hi, I'm good and you. Thank you for having me.
I'm doing great. I'm thrilled that we get to do this. I've been looking forward to learning a lot about this program from the player perspective because I've had great conversations with Coach Amadou and Coach Reese and other people in and around the program, but I feel that I still haven't gotten that full perspective yet because I haven't had the chance to speak with you guys as players, and so I'm thrilled that we get to do that today. But I mean, I know we've got a lot to talk about, but as I start a lot of these shows, I really want to turn back the clock a little bit and learn about just how you got into basketball. Because for you, this journey is something that a lot of people don't really understand, considering how far you've had to travel to pursue this career and just the lengths that you and your family have had to go to get you into this position. And so, I mean, just to start, Inez, where did basketball start for you? How did you get into it? Were there any family members or coaches that got you into it, and how did this journey begin for you?
So for me, at the beginning, I didn't like basketball at all. Like I didn't want to play basketball, because my parents played, my mother and my father. My father he was at a good level and he was practicing a lot. So like that was something like I didn't like because I felt like I was not spending time as much with my father. So I didn't want to play basketball. I did a lot of different sport. I did ballet, um, track, judo. I don't think you have this sport in the US, but like different sport. And after I get into basketball, pretty early, around 7 years old, and I finally liked it. And I feel like it's because of my parents, and thanks to my parents, like I'm playing basketball today.
Were they always supportive of you getting involved in other sports, or when you were younger, were your parents always trying to push you or at least coax you in the direction of playing basketball?
I think my parents wanted me to play basketball, but it was more like the culture of like uh doing a sport, doing an activity, and not like just staying home and having school. Like have a another thing outside school, and that's what they wanted. So they just wanted me to like exercise the sport. But after, they were very happy when I finally decided to play basketball.
And so when you ultimately got involved with basketball and you started to play competitively, you joined a team, what was that overall just basketball scene like? Obviously, basketball in France has been growing exponentially over the past few years, and you're now starting to see big time NBA players really bringing a lot more international attention to basketball in France. But I'm curious, just what was it like growing up and getting into basketball at a young age? Just what was the overall scene like? Were there a lot of players that you were friends with that were getting into basketball, or was it as popular as it is now?
No, it was not popular as much as it is right now, because like even if like when I start playing with men's and not women's, because they didn't had enough like team for girls at a young age. So I started playing with a guy. But it was fun. Like he got me a little bit tougher and helped me to grow. And yeah, I feel like basketball is growing a lot right now. But when I start, it was not like it didn't have that much of space, and yeah, didn't have that much of space that there's right now. And also I think like because of social media right now, we can do so much and help like basketball growing. So I think that's something like really grow with the past few years.
That's interesting that you started playing basketball as a part of a men's program and a men's team. Was that like daunting, or was that like nerve wracking for you to do that, and that's your first experience with basketball? Or do you feel that that was a good thing for you and that actually helped you move further along down this career?
I think it was a great thing. I think it was an advantage because um even if I was pretty young, because I started basketball at 7 years old, like guy are more physical and have are a little bit like bigger. So it was good for me to just like have myself like play against like bigger people and tougher people, and I think it really helped me to grow and like just like have my mentality I have right now.
And so, how did basketball ultimately start to shape your life at this point? Because for from what I've gathered, for international students, when you are really trying to commit to this sport, it takes up a good amount of your life because you don't have that school sport balance like you do in the United States. And so, as you started to take it more seriously, your parents are probably now getting you into more camps and into more competitive teams. As you got older, how did basketball dictate your overall day to day life?
I think, like you said, like it really dictated my life. Like it was very like the center of our daily life with my parents. Because I left my house at around 12 years old to be able like to play basketball every single day. So I left around 12 years old to like be able to go to school and practice every single day. So at a pretty young age, like I had to leave my house, my parents, my little sister, to be able to like continue and like progress, because I think it was something really important for me, and it was not like easy, but like you say, like in France we don't have the culture of sport, and it's not something that very including at school. So that's why when you really want to do a career, or when basketball or sport become very important for you, you really have to make choice about what you're gonna do next. Are you gonna leave your house? Are you gonna stay at your house? Like I know like I had certain type of team I had it to get into at a certain age to be able to play at a certain level. So it was very um sometimes overwhelming to have to do a lot of like driving, like with for my parents, for me, like I'm living in the north of Paris, and I had it to like cross the whole Paris to be able like to go at practice at the end of the week, and also games. So it was a lot, but I knew like why I was doing that, and the purpose of it.
And so clearly, it must have not phased you as much as other international students making the switch to come over to the United States, considering that you had already had to leave home at such a young age. Was that decision something that you were really pushing for when you were younger, knowing that this was sort of like what you wanted to do? Or was that more your parents thought this was going to be best if you wanted this chance to go and possibly play at the professional level? They thought, you know what, let's send you this way and this will be beneficial for you.
So, since a young age, I already had like this, like kind of like wanting to experience the American dream, like go to the US, go to the university, like experience, like discover the culture and everything. And I feel my parents were more like very supportive of whatever choice I was making. Like if I wanted to stay in France, if I wanted to go to the US. I don't know if you know, but like I spent like a couple months in professional with the professional team before I came here, because I didn't get my English test. So I had the opportunity to be like around professional, and it was very like enriching to do that. And my parents were very supportive to me to like with me to being professional, and very also supportive to help me like to get the step to be able to go to the university. And I think that's something they really like, because when you finish high school in France, like it's very difficult to be able to combine school and professional team. Like there is no time for both at the same time. So like the university, the college experience was the best opportunity to be able to do both.
Interesting. And that was kind of what I was going to shift over to was the overall just lifestyle of being at that academy and then ultimately going to play professionally for albeit a short time at a young age. Just compared to that of some of your friends that maybe weren't as competitive with basketball or they were focusing more on just academics and being a kid in that sense. Just how different was that lifestyle for you? I mean, like walk me through some of what you would have to do day to day while being at that academy. Was it just basketball, wake up, basketball, eat, practice, go back to bed, do some studying, and so on? Just how intense was it?
I think like especially in high school when I enter high school and be like in one of the biggest institution in France, like it was a real change because like you really start lifting almost every single day, practicing almost like every single day. So like it's a lifestyle you get to change because you have to combine really school and practice every single day. So it's difficult at the beginning, but yeah, your life is like shaping around basketball and school. Like you don't really have time to go out, go to party or things like that. And after like that's not something I really interested about it, but still like just like oh, even if like spending time with your family, spending celebration, Christmas, Easter, like things like that, you don't really have every time the time to had this moment, especially when you far. For example, like since I came here, like it's gonna be like 3 years in a row I'm not celebrating Christmas with my family. So it's like compromise, but after at the end of the day, you know why you're doing it.
Does that ever weigh on you, that the mental side of this, the fact that you aren't able to see your family much and you aren't able to celebrate the holidays?
Yeah, I would say like it's tough. Like sometimes, like when you're really into it, with your family, but you have like your like you normally spending this time, your birthday or like your Christmas, like I said before, like it's hard. But after that, you still have your teammates, like the people you meet here. Like I had a lot of friends here, or like meet different people who really like family right now. So it's helping, but yeah, I still miss home.
Well, that actually was sort of something else I wanted to talk about was just that becoming connected with this locker room and as going into it not knowing really anybody, not knowing much about where you're going in Rhode Island and so on. And obviously, you talked about wanting to experience American culture, like that American dream of going to university and pursuing all of these different paths and so on. We'll get to your actual decision to come to URI in a moment, but I'm curious when you did in fact arrive at URI, you don't know anybody. It's you're just getting acclimated and so on over those initial couple of months during the summer. What were those initial weeks like? Meeting the team, meeting the American players, getting to know the coaching staff, and so on. Because you obviously have experience going away from home to pursue basketball, but I have to imagine that this change was unlike any other one you've ever had to make.
Yeah, I think the biggest change was like the language because like I said, I was really really bad at English before I came here. Like I couldn't like speak a word. So I feel it was the most difficult thing for me, but at the same time with my personality, I'm not someone who's shy, so I'm very outgoing. So I was just like going at people, talking with people, even if sometimes it didn't make sense at all, but it just helped me like to just better my English every single day. And also at the same time, like the whole team, coaches, sorry, staff, teammates, like they all like very welcoming. So I think it really helped me to just feel comfortable, even if like I was not the best at English.
And there was something that Coach Reese and Coach Amadou talked about a lot that stood out to me, and it was when they go about recruiting, it's much more of a focus on the character of who they're going after rather than just the talent. I think that one of the ways that I kind of looked at it was that they know that they're going to go after great, talented individuals and that there's going to be a big pool of that. But to narrow it down, they want to find people of a certain character like what you have and Sophie and so on. And one of those that really struck me because that's one of the keys to making a cohesive locker room is players that are able to interact with each other and mesh together, regardless of language barrier and so on. And so you kind of touched on it, but when you got in, what was the initial period like when you're meeting your teammates? And did you notice any sort of similarities between yourself and some of the girls that were either just freshly getting recruited with you, or some of the girls that had already been there?
I feel we were all like on the same page. Like we were all very hungry to like practice, get better, working out. So I think that's something who really help us to build and like build quickly. Because like having like we all have like difference and different character, but at the end of the day, we also here to play basketball. So like be on the same page, having the same like be on the same thing to develop the same culture in the team, like really help that make us successful. It really make us successful. Yeah.
And so during the initial conversations during your overall recruitment process, I imagine that Coach Amadou was one of the main pushers for you to come over to URI. But
Mm-hmm.
just as your college recruitment process is starting and you had made the decision to come over to the United States, how did that work for you? Did you have an agent that you were speaking with? Were you in conversation with any coaches from other universities around America? What was that sort of like?
No, I didn't. I don't have, and I didn't have an agent, and it was one of my young coach when I was younger who like um put coach A on my way, and at the same time I had like two university who contact me, but I didn't like really continue to talk to them because first like I was not really speaking English, so it was very difficult to just like communicate, like having like this exchange explanation, and like just having coach share like really like giving a lot of his time to really like understand and wanting to get to know me as a person, like really make the difference. Like he really take the time to do that, and I think that's what made the big difference. And also like having him speaking French, like explaining me everything was much easier than if I had to do everything in English.
And so I imagine that Coach Amadou's presence and the fact that there would be someone else who speaks French in the locker room and on the court definitely helped a lot. But
Yes.
outside of his presence, in terms of whether it's an athletic or a university sort of quirk, what sold you on URI? Because obviously, when you're a college athlete, you have to make this great decision to travel super far away. So you have to be comfortable with everything. And so once you got in a picture of what this university was like, what ultimately sold you on wanting to come to URI?
I feel like the area of the university was very nice. Like I really enjoyed that, and as also like the whole coaching staff really like um wanting to get to know me as a person, and just see like the energy Coach Tammy have, the passion she have, and also like getting to know Coach Cherniker, who's very passionate too. Like it really like um got me, I will say, and make me take the decision that I wanted to come here, and like just like have them also like wanting me to help me to get better and achieve my goal, and just making a plan for that really like help me to take my decision.
And so then after you made the decision, you move out to the US, you go through the initial first couple of weeks in summer training and everything. How long did it take you to acclimate to the US? At what point did you feel comfortable and not like maybe the homesickness had started to dissipate? And beyond that, were there any teammates in particular that you met either that were in your recruiting class or maybe were older that you gravitated toward that helped you acclimate to life here?
Yeah. I would say I really felt acclimate around December, because I feel December my freshman year, because I feel it was the moment where I really start speaking real English, I would say, and feel more comfortable. But I would say Maye really played a big role for me because like I been knew her when I was in beginning of high school. So it was a long time I knew her, and just having her like here helping me, orienting me on the campus, helping me like with the language, basketball, and everything really helped me to feel comfortable very quickly.
And considering that over the past few years, either half, if not more than half, of the roster was made up of international students, mainly French speakers. As the years have gone on, from from when you were recruited your freshman year to now, did you know any players prior to your experience at URI? Either knew them personally or knew of them before ultimately teaming up with them here?
Yeah, when I came here, like I already knew almost all the French player, because I play with them or already exchanged with them before I came here, and also like with one of the another international player, Amy, who I was like talking with before I came here. So just having like the opportunity to talk to these people before I came here was very comforting.
And so now to shift over from getting recruited to URI to talking more about basketball, because now we have to touch upon the actual success that this team has had over the past couple of seasons. And so your freshman season, you obviously weren't a starting member of the program at that point, but you were starting to make a name for yourself as you were coming consistently in off the bench and sitting behind Sayani Lassiter in that sort of point guard role, learning a bit from her as the season's going on. What was your first season like overall? Because you're learning the language, you're learning the playbook, you're getting used to playing with all of these different players, trying to get comfortable, and I imagine communicating on the court had maybe snagged a little bit at times because I think something that Coach Reese had said to me is that a lot of the terminology that goes on in basketball, there isn't a direct French translation sometimes, so that can be difficult. But just overall, your freshman season, how was it for you? And just what do you look back on as some of the highlighting moments from that year?
I think it was a great year, like especially like finishing like champion from the regular season was just like awesome for a freshman year. Like and just having the opportunity to play like a good amount of time for a freshman will really help me to build and grow a lot, and having like a bigger point guard and all the point guard in front of me and just like learn from her really helped me too. And yeah, overall my freshman year was awesome. Like I really learned this year, and just having like success with the team really uh like give a great point of this year.
And so then, as you moved on into your sophomore season, you get named a team captain, and at that point too, you're also coming off of a gold medal with Team France at the FIBA Women's World Championships. So now at this point, your basketball career is really starting to push on to much greater heights. I mean, actually, you know what? First, I want to talk a little bit about that summer too. The World Championships. What was that overall experience like? How long did you know that you were going to be a part of that team, and just being able to compete for your country and be able to compete on a stage as big as that? Just what was that like for you?
It's always like means a lot like to wear the jersey with France on it because you really represent your country. So I was very excited when I knew I was part of the team. It was very exciting moment, especially knowing like it was the last young national team. So it was a little bit sad, a little bit of nostalgia, but it was very exciting. Like to play with this girl and also like finish like being European champion. Like it was an awesome experience. Like I had great time, great memories, and I feel it really like helped me to build in the leadership area, to prepare me for my sophomore year. And yeah, just being named captain was I was very grateful for that. To be able to help the team as much as like I was able to, and just building in my role of like captain and point guard too.
So when you talk about the leadership qualities that you gained, beyond that too, you're learning a different style of basketball because between the American basketball and European basketball, there's definitely some subtle differences in how the game is overall played. And I mean, during that summer, do you feel that having had that your freshman year in the United States playing basketball for URI, do you think that that gave you an advantage in any sort of way when you were playing for Team France?
Yes, I think it really helped me like to be a good leader in this French team because like for example like when I came in the US I thought like I was someone very talking on the court, very loud. But when I arrived here like they really like show me like what it is to really talk on the court, communicate. And I think like having this freshman year when I experienced that was around like all the player coaches with experience like really helped me to be able to perform like during this summer.
And so then moving into your sophomore season, you're now riding a lot of momentum. You get named as a team captain, and obviously you talked about just the leadership qualities, improving and improving and improving. But when Coach Reese actually named you captain, what was that feeling like? Was that a surprise to you, or did you feel that the work that you had put in, consistently plying your trade and working out in practice and giving as much effort as you could possibly can, do you feel that at that point it was deserving, or was it still somewhat surprising?
I don't know if it was surprising or deserving, but it was more I was more in the mindset like how I can help the team and do as a captain I am gonna be helping the team. And it was more in the mindset of like, oh, okay, Coach Tammy really trust me and want me to be in this role, so I will do my job to be able to lead and help this team to be as performance as we can.
And so then in the 2023-24 season, you started to see your role in the team increase dramatically. And you go from being a consistent bench option to now you're starting to start a number of games. Your minutes per game are starting to go up. And then your overall production as a sort of point guard, like this floor general, it starts to increase as well. Over that 2 year or 1.5 year stretch as you start rolling into the first half of your sophomore season, what were some of the key improvements to your game that you noticed going into that season where you felt, all right, you know what, this is something that has really improved since I got to URI?
I think really like be able like to manage the team on the floor, like be able to alternate my decision making of making play for me or making play for my teammate, put my teammate in the best position I can to make them in great condition to score. And I think it was like the thing I was really focused on to be able to perform as best as I was able to.
And so then your sophomore season, you guys continued to make more strides. Regular season, you weren't able to come away with the championship, but you made it further into the Atlantic 10 conference tournament, losing out in the final to Richmond, who won the league that earlier that month. Just as that season kind of got underway, you start to play a lot of competitive games. Just at that ending must have been deflating, but to see the continuous improvement to go 21 in 14 over the year and go 10 and 8 in the conference and so on, just how did that season resonate with you, and how did you yourself and you as a collective, all of the girls on the team, kind of use that as motivation for this upcoming season, knowing that there's still much more work to do and knowing that the improvements are good, but we can do so much better?
Yeah. I would say like it just give like a lot of like hope and a lot of we really want to do good because like we saw like everybody saw like we capable of great thing because we have a great program, we have great coaches who help us to get better every single day and help us to get some step. So I think it was very like encouraging like to see like how good like we were at the end of the year, and how like we will be able like to have great goals for this year.
And now to shift the conversation more just toward the program itself, because this program, I don't know if you're familiar with a lot of just the history of this program, it was not good prior to Coach Reese coming here, not at all.
Yeah.
And to see the turnaround that this program has had over the past 4 years has been monumental for Rhode Island basketball fans, because it's not something that many expected, especially when Coach Reese was hired to have this happen so quickly.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, I'm just curious, what's your relationship like with Coach Reese? Because I imagine your relationship with Coach Amadou is very strong, considering that he was the main recruiter and one of the biggest advocates for you to come to URI. But Coach Reese, from her words, it doesn't seem that she has as much of an involvement in terms of European recruiting because of some of her other stuff with Team USA and everything. And so, what is your relationship like with her, and how has it evolved since you've been here?
I think it really grew because, as you know, like she was a point guard, so like she expected us a lot from us. Like we have to communicate with her a lot about what she expects for from us as a point guard, and just help us like to really grow, in our game, and help us to be like the best leader I can be. As a point, like a person who was a point guard, who played pro as a point guard, and it's really like great to have someone who's around you and your head coach to had this experience and be able like to share it with you.
And so a lot of the success that this program has had has been credited to the work that her and her staff have done to
Mm-hmm.
put you guys in this position to be successful with the
Yes.
tactics and the way that they establish this culture. But I'm curious, from a player perspective, what do you believe has really driven this team to the success that it's seen in the past few years? And what are some of the factors that you've witnessed that has just allowed this program to grow in the way that it has?
I would say the time like everybody put in the program and how like everybody is devoted to the program. I feel like everybody like pour into it, like give so much time, so much energy, so much work into it, like how many hours like the coaches like are here for us, like try to find solution for us, put us in best position, like put plays and everything like who's gonna be beneficial for us. And also like I know like in every university is not like that, but here like the coaches are very available for us. Like if you want to work at any hours, like they like here for us and able to make us work out. So that's really like how everybody is devoted, want to put the work into it, and just how that I think that's just the result of like uh the work ethic.
And to kind of pull back a little bit and look more at just like the holistic view of being a student athlete in this position, how has the university impacted your overall development since you came here? I mean, you and I met during a French event at the that the French program at URI put
Mhm.
on. I remember it was you and Maya speaking to a panel of French students and so on. And I know that the university really tries to prop up a lot of these events to get to take advantage of the amount of French students and the amount of international students in general that have come to URI, and they really try to be as supportive as possible. And that's something that Coach Amadou credited a lot to this team's growth, is how much the university really tries to make it as comfortable as possible for international students to be here. But I mean, just coming from an international student yourself, I mean, how has the university helped you improve in just any facet, or how is rather just impacted you in general, where it's other French students, the French program itself, or just any other events or personalities on campus?
I would say like it's always very honorable like to have people like asking you about your culture, asking you how you doing, like if you need help. And I feel like the whole university make a great impact on us, like about giving us a lot of resources if we need help, if we need something to either is like outside basketball, in the classroom or something else. I feel like we have a lot of resources to turn, and I think that's where I'm very feel grateful for this university. Yeah.
And to kind of wrap this up, if a French student athlete, whether it's basketball or any other sport, but mainly for basketball,
Mm-hmm.
if they were interested in coming to URI and they reached out to you asking you about the entire university, from the program and the coaches to what the academics are like and just what the overall campus was like, what are some of the things that you would tell them to give them an idea about what URI has to offer international students?
I think you're right. I have a lot of international students, especially in the athletic um, area, and I feel it's great to like just have so much people come from so much different country. Like I even if in class I meet so much people from different country, and I feel like if I was not coming here, like I was not going to meet this person and have developed this relationship and this connection like all around the world. And I feel like what the diversity that the University of Rhode Island offer is very important to notice and great. And yeah, I would say like that's a great environment too. Like there is a beach around. Big city. Boston is not far. It's like an hour in train. New York is like 3 hours away. So you have a lot of possibility like to just also discover the U.S. So yeah, I think it's a great university.
Awesome. And to finish this up, this season you guys aren't off to the best of starts, but there's still so much more basketball left. You haven't even gotten to conference play yet.
Yeah.
I think you were picked to finish sixth in the conference this year. I think that was thereabouts. Um, but just for any fans of URI women's basketball or those that are still learning about this program, what's a message that you have for them? What can they expect from you guys for the rest of this season? But then you obviously have another year left, and there's so many younger athletes that have joined that have more years to give to this program. What do you think is next for the URI women's basketball program beyond this season as well?
Yeah. I would say like just keep building the program, keep like um continue what people before us build here, because like all the advantage we have today, all the fan who's coming like is people who was there before, who really like build that, and who have to keep that and keep the culture and keep the competitiveness, sorry, for the program. And I would say for the fan, like I know we didn't like had a great start, but we keep building up, we keep working out, and like conference start like in couple of weeks now. So we just have to be ready for that, because that's really where it counts, and where we have to be ready is where the season start. But we still like very grateful and appreciate a lot, like everybody keeps showing up, keeps supporting us, giving us a lot of love. Like we very 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 all grateful for that and really appreciate that.
Well, awesome. Inez, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me today. I've loved every second of doing this project thus far, and I've been looking forward to learning about what you as players have thought about this program and how it's grown and how it's impacted you on a day-to-day level. And to hear all of this is just so cool. So thank you so much for taking the time to join me, and best of luck for the rest of the season, because I'm very curious to see how you guys are able to learn a lot from the lessons that you guys have had to learn, difficult ones at that, this year. And because of just how charismatic Coach Reese is, we know the standard that she sets, and I know that she's definitely going to try and push you guys just as much as you guys push yourselves to continue improving this season. So best of luck, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing how you guys shake out this year.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. It was great.
Of course. And to everybody at home listening to this, I appreciate you all endlessly. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to hear more about Ines and the rest of the programs, their stories, and how they've grown, stick around and stay tuned for some more updates on social media. So follow me at Marks or Marks Pod on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, we will have more of these interviews coming out over the next few weeks and months as their season kicks into gear. So yeah, catch you all in the next one.